Hello, Tracie Harris. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, really good. I really appreciate you coming on. We just had a brief chat, and yeah, it's nice to hear a bit about you. So, do you want to start initially? I know we're going to talk about goal mapping and mindset, but do you want to start initially telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, okay. So I'm Tracie Harris. I have been working in the wellness mindset industry for the last 30 years. I worked for myself for years. I've worked with personal training for people. Obviously, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I do NLP, and I also work with CBT therapy. So I do lots of different modalities.
Mhm.
I also work with goal mapping as well, because I coach people to have really live their best life. And that could be helping them get through different anxieties or difficult situations, relationships, can be anything really. But
Yeah.
goal mapping can help you with all of those personal business goals that you want to achieve, really.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because I like kind of mapping stuff out when I get round to it, and getting stuff down on paper. It really helps myself, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, to seeing what you have to talk about and applying it for my business.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is it can be a goal map just for 6 months, or it could be a goal map for a year or 5 years or 10 years, because as we know, things evolve as we go along
Yeah.
in our businesses or in our life. And so, but it's, they're really effective, especially for business people as well. If they're sort of not really knowing where they're going, gives them a definite path to follow.
Yeah, and I see that a lot in my group. For decorators, even myself, 20 years I've been decorating, and I look at, for many years, I was just going down the same path and didn't plan it at all. And years go really quick, don't they?
They do,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
suddenly 5 years, 10 years later, you're like, oh, I haven't particularly moved on, from where I started. So yeah, it's something I'd certainly encourage people to do.
Yeah, and also along the way, we get these beliefs, don't we? We have beliefs that aren't necessarily always true, and then they hold you in a really stuck position. So,
Mm,
you could think, I want to do all of these things, but then something comes along in your life and holds you there, and you don't actually then ever move forward. Some people never move forward. They just stay
mm.
in the same job, or, not necessarily achieving everything they want to achieve, just because they need to have something to help them to move through it, really, to move forward.
Yeah, and it could be your peers as well, sort of saying, "Oh, I wouldn't risk it," and that kind of stuff. When inside and your gut instinct is sort of saying you need to make a change, perhaps.
Yes, yeah. And change is really uncomfortable, isn't it? When
Mm,
you first start to do something, it can feel really, really uncomfortable. And that in itself can hold you back, because you think, oh, with these feelings that, I'm feeling like this, I don't actually want, maybe it isn't a good thing to do. And so
mm.
you then, but if you just take that first step, and I think that's always the biggest thing, take the first step and get yourself moving towards that direction, you're more likely to actually make a change, aren't you? And feel really
Definitely.
good when you've come through the other side. You'll think, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
If I hadn't have done this, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, or, whatever it is you're doing. So,
Yeah, it's even like, obviously I'm still painting now, but when I started even my group, I was like, oh, I should really be doing some lives and stuff like that. And I was like so nervous, it was ridiculous.
yeah, well, I think,
I was, you worry about being judged and stuff like that. But, I don't, I just make it as natural as possible to like the videos. I'm just a painter, and I'm not some expert in cutting it and editing it. It's just and after I've done a few, it's fine, it's comfortable, and I'm really glad I do them.
yeah. One thing I just want to say there, you said, I'm just a painter. That is, that one thing that I learned along the way is that, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but years ago, I was a hairdresser. I started out my life as a hairdresser,
Mhm.
and I absolutely loved it. It's very creative. It's something, I'm quite a creative person. And I was in a relationship years ago, and I was introduced to a group of people by the person that, that I was in a relationship with. And he said, oh, this is Tracie. She's just a hairdresser.
Yeah.
So at the time, I didn't really think that that made any difference in my life. I just thought, oh, yeah, I'm a hairdresser. But
Mm.
then about 20 years later, I was at a seminar, and a woman on the stage was saying about how she was also a hairdresser, and someone had introduced her just as a hairdresser.
Mm.
It suddenly sort of resonated with me. I thought, actually, yeah, that happened to me, and it sort of really held me back
Mm,
my life, well, for a long time, thinking, well, I'm just a hairdresser. But actually, you're not just a hairdresser, you're not just a painter.
yeah,
You've got all these other skills. And
yeah,
it just shows you how something that's just one word or sentence that's said to you in
yeah.
your life can really sort of make a difference. So don't ever say you're just a painter,
No, no, it was a bad slip, and I should know better.
because you're so
Um,
much more than that.
yeah, but
We all
then,
are,
you know, like,
whatever job you do.
you know, whatever my painters specialize in, you know, I get them to kind of elaborate those kind of words, you know. So like for me, I do hand painted cabinets and stuff, and just, yeah, I'm not just a painter. You're right, it's a bad,
Yeah,
something bad to say. And if you project a different kind of idea of what you're, you know, how skillful you are, you know, you're going to command more money and all that kind of stuff as well. So you really need to, that's another subject, but look at your branding and seeing how you're coming across. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the words you use are very powerful, aren't they?
Mm,
Whatever words in whatever subject you're using. So I think that's something that people need to be really aware of to make them feel more confident, really.
definitely,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so shall I share my screen
Yeah, please.
and let's see. Sorry, just bear with me. That's it. Okay. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about goal mapping. So Brian Main is someone that set up goal mapping over 25 years ago.
Mhm.
And it is, like I said, a way that you can turn your dreams or the things that you would like to do, not even like the word dreams, but to turn them into a reality. And we do this, you can do this by online, you can create a goal map online, or you can physically hand draw it yourself. I have to say, when I started this over 10 years ago now, I'm not really artistic, I'm not great at drawing, and I found it was then really quite hard to sort of picture it in what I was trying to create on the paper. But
Yeah.
then they created an actual chance to do it online, I found that was much easier because I take a lot of photographs in my life. I love photography, and I found that by putting a real photograph on my goal map, it actually made it more real, and so it actually made a way, to create it and make it better. So we've worked with lots of different people and businesses. They've obviously helped with their own, within their business environments. We also work with lots of children as well. They're really fantastic because they've got a very creative mind.
Mm,
They're really open to all of this as well. We also work with people in sport, so we've helped them map things. And this is really how it works. We work with the left brain and the right brain. So we have the written side of it, and then we have the photograph or the pictures or the hand drawn as well. And goal mapping really is it works to sort of empower your mindset. It helps you to have sort of the winning attitude, and if you sort of effective habits that really creates success. So as
mm,
you can see on the left, the main bit, we'll come back to this, but the main bit says I'm fit and healthy. So this particular map is about someone that wanted to have, a healthier lifestyle. They want to feel fulfilled. They want to advance their career. They want to bring balance back into their life, etc., etc.
mhm,
So this is the way that the words that we use I am. We would say I am glowing, I am energetic, I am balanced, because they're positive affirmations. And so that, obviously that's going to help you in the way that you look at your map, as we said about the words you talk about yourself.
mhm,
And really what we do is we use the whole brain activation. So we have the words, and we have the pictures, and we have billions and billions of brain cells in our minds. And so what we need to do is to activate them so they work more efficiently for us together. And really the power of positive thinking, we all know that if we get up in the morning and we wake up and first thing think today is going to be a great day, I'm going to have a great day, you will have a great day. If you
mm.
wake up in the morning really not enjoying your life and thinking how it's going to be, then actually, you can have a bad day. So I always suggest to people, wake up in the morning, think about something positive, go and look in the mirror, high five yourself, smile at yourself, and then that will create positive things along the way.
Yeah, it's like if you stub your toe when you get up, you're like, oh, you know, and then that can set off a snowball effect
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
rest of
Yeah,
the day,
it
can't
just
it? You
takes
know.
that one thought, doesn't it, to be a
Mm,
negative thought, and then it sort of starts to go on really. But
Yeah.
we've got, you know, really loads and loads of different types of brain cells. They're all, this is just a diagram really of how the brain cells or neurons are, and they've got these little arms called dendrites, and then in between them we've got something called the synaptic gap. And what happens is when we have a positive thought, it sparks this really great little impulse that goes across, and they join together. So you create more and more positive cells, and then in the end you have more connections in your brain, more positive connections, and then you can achieve your goal. Which is, you know, really, really, it's like it creates a positive line of thoughts, and that's something we need to do more of really. And what the power of positive thinking and thinking like this is, obviously it gives you a vision, an idea, it makes you more creative. When you're thinking more positive, most people will find that they can, you know, everything else opens up, their life opens up to them. They think more clearly, they have a plan, they take the action, and then they can actually sort of work forward like that. And this just really demonstrates a picture of that the left brain is decisive, it's logic, it's analytical, it controls things, it's realistic, whereas the right brain is actually more creative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got passion and vivid and all that type of thing. So that just gives you an idea. Now, with the subconscious, in this particular instance, it's talking about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And those of us will probably have been, maybe we've driven home late one night and we've been thinking about lots of things as we do, and then we've arrived home and suddenly we don't really realise how we've ever driven home. We don't remember driving. I mean, that probably happened to us, well, it happens to me a lot as well.
Yeah.
And what that happens, how that happens is your subconscious mind knows exactly the journey home because you've done it loads of times before. It's driven you home very safely. But if someone actually stood out in front of your car in the middle of the road, your conscious mind would take over and you'd obviously slam on the brakes and you'd be very safe, and that person would be safe too. So, you know, but the main thing about the subconscious mind is it's like a genie. It's like a very, very powerful genie. And the conscious mind is like the master of the lamp. The subconscious is like the powerful genie. And the genie seeks out, it's almost like a sort of heat-seeking missile. Anything you're thinking about, it actually then will give you. So if you're thinking about buying a red Mini, for example, and suddenly you've discovered that you want to have leather seats and all the, you know, all the things, everything in the car, all the special, I don't know, buttons and stuff like that. And you know, I'm not really into that, but you probably know, so, you know, all the digits and everything.
Yeah.
And you've seen it, you know the colour, you know the make or whatever, and you're suddenly then driving on the road, and everywhere you go, you suddenly see all these, let's say, red Minis, the exact one that you want. You've never noticed them before, but once you actually start to think about it, your subconscious just hones in on that red Mini or Porsche or whatever it is you want to see, and so therefore you'll see more of them. And
yeah, it's so true. When I used to see clients, I would always use, you know, that as an example, and it's just so true, isn't it?
yeah, it's just amazing, isn't it? Or if you want to, I don't know, a certain type of bag, if it's a woman, you know, she might see, and then everyone's got them, you know, and you think, God, I never really noticed that before.
Yeah.
So what it does, you know, obviously the more connections and the more positive things we have in our minds, the happier it makes you. Obviously the serotonin goes out and you feel a lot better. But with the subconscious mind, even if you're thinking negative things, obviously it will give you negative things. It will only seek out the negatives in your life. So that's why positive thinking is really, really, you know, really, really what we need to do.
It's Tracy, it's probably a subject for another day because, you know, it's such a vast subject, but for someone that is struggling and they're in a rut and, you know, they can't seem to flip their kind of mindset, sometimes it could be difficult, can't it, to say, you know, to look at stuff in a positive way, or when you wake up, think positively. Is there any, you know, it could be a number of things and they could need help, more intense help, but is there a way we can trick our minds?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like I said earlier, you know, if you wake up in the morning and you get up and you look in the mirror and you smile at yourself, even if you're not feeling happy, your mind thinks that you're happy. So by smiling, it starts to make you feel different. Also, it's changing the way that you stand. You know, if you're feeling sort of really negative and really down, you are going to be sort of curled in, that sort of thing. If you sort of open yourself up and, you know, stand taller and, you know, change the shape of your body, that will help. If you move more, do some sort of exercise, you know, that will really work for you as well, because you're moving any anxiety or any negative feelings around your body. I'm a big thing, really a big person, not big person. I'm a real, I like to think that you need to be very, you know, have gratitude in your life. And I get a lot of my clients, well, I get all of my clients actually, for whatever they're coming to see me for, to write down 3 gratitudes at the end of every day, so that they can really realise that even on a bad day, and sometimes we do have bad days, and sometimes people are going through terrible things in their life, you can always find something to be grateful for, whether it's you're grateful for being able to hold a pen, to be able to walk with your feet, to be able to see, to be able to hear. You know, there's always, it's when you think of people in wars and all sorts of things, you will always find people that will say, okay, yeah, we're in this. However, you know, I'm really grateful that I'm with my family, or I'm really grateful that we're healthy. You
need to pattern interrupt, don't you?
Yeah, you need to sort of break it. It's almost like telling yourself to stop and then sort of going on and sort of recharging yourself, really.
Brilliant.
So so this is really, we're talking about subconscious, and obviously negative, we talk about negative thinking and how if you have how it constricts the brain and the cell connection. If cortisol is released, then obviously it goes into fight or flight mode, which obviously is a primitive way of thinking. That was used years and years and years ago, when we had to run away from bears, and obviously it shuts down all your the fight and flight shuts down your lymph, your immune system, your digestive system, so that you've got the energy to run away. And sometimes, like I said, people do get stuck in this situation, and we need to sort of break that. So really, you could even listen, going back to what could you do? You could listen to, watch comedy, uplifting music, and there's lots of different things, isn't there, that you can do just to help really try and trigger the serotonin. Okay, so that's really about the subconscious. So we go back to the goal mapping mission. So this was Brian's picture of how, when he first started, he wanted to, his goal was to help live 7 million lives with his, this is what his goal map was all about. So in the center here, you see that it says help lift 7 million lives. That's his goal, but at the side of it, there's also 4 other goals. There's, you know, he wants to have more corporate success, he wants to help students, he wants to boost the well-being, wants to empower families. And so this is how we sort of break down the goal map. So this is really your goals. And at the top, we then have, your why. Why did you want to do that? Wants to create freedom, wants to lift the world, wants to give love. So you have to always have a why. Your why is a big thing that motivates you in your life. And then you always have to have a timeline, because we need to know, well, if this is what our goals are, actually, this is the date now. When do we want to actually finish it by? Is it 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, etc.? So we have dates. And then we say, okay, how are we going to do this? We have 3 different steps. Okay, we might have to do some training, or we might have to go out and do some more marketing, or we might sell books, or whatever it is. And then over here, it'll be who helps you. You know, it might be that you have to help yourself. You might have to get other people to work for you. For instance, if you're painting, or you might need to, you know, get yourself out there more and do more networking, and people in networking might help you because you get more customers, or whatever it is. So that's really the actual way that it works. Let me just stop sharing just for a minute. So bear with me, sorry.
Okay.
So if we come back to the original map, she says, trying to find it. Okay. Yeah, so if we just come back to, let's say, this original map. So basically there's the 7 steps, and that's really how it works. I mean, it's just a quick, short synopsis of how it works. So you can actually do it online. You can do it by handwritten as well. And the main thing is really just to find out what your goals are, why you're doing it, who's going to help you, how you're going to do it, and what your timeline is.
Yeah, no, it's really good, because quite often we all get into the trap of working and not really knowing why we're working. So we go to work, and essentially it just feels like we're going to work to pay our bills, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And what are we actually creating? So we really need to step back and have a look at it, don't we? We can create something wonderful. We can create something for our children, perhaps. And we, like you say, if you goal map it, it's just making steps, isn't it? So, like you say, networking, connecting with other trades where you could go in after, perhaps. There's loads of ways you can connect with more people to bring in more work. I talk a lot about specializing as well. You know, how you can specialize in a particular area and potentially earn more money. And it's not going to happen unless you map it out, is it?
No, no, and I think it's not only just thinking about the money side of it, it's about thinking about the balance. You know, everyone needs to have balance in their life.
Mm,
They've got to have really good mental health. They've got to be healthy, eating the right foods, drinking lots of water. It's a whole
mm,
wellness as well as a business, isn't it? You know, because if you can't do and create a really good business if you're not looking after yourself. And
yeah,
that's
and
really important too.
that's right. And it's even like balance is sometimes very poor because I've spoken about it before, where we work hard to provide for our family, and we think, oh, we're getting an extra job in, we do nights, we work weekends, it's all good money. But then relationships can break down and stuff because you're not seeing your partner, but you know, you believe you're doing something really good to provide, but it has almost the opposite effect. And also, you know, you're not looking after yourself as well, are you?
No, and I think that, you know, that's what people, you know, what lets people down. And, you know, I think we've all done it, haven't we? We've worked ourselves to the bone to think we need to do more work. But sometimes it's actually working, you know, more effectively, isn't it?
Mm,
You know, maybe you need more help to create the income that you need. Or maybe you need to specialize, like you said. You know, it's lots of different things, isn't it, in your life that you need to really get the balance. But unless you actually know what it is you want out of your life,
mm,
it might be that, you know, you want to work for the next 10 years and you want to go and live abroad.
mm,
How are you going to do that? You know, you need to map it out, like you said, because otherwise it's not just going to happen. I have lots
mm,
of people that, you know, do things like manifestation and all of these things, but unless you actually write it down and you've got a
mm.
plan of how you're going to do it, and then the next thing, of course, is to take action. You know, lots
Yeah.
of people learn lots of skills or map out what they want to do, but then they think just because they've done a goal map that it's just going
Mm,
to happen. But as we know, you know, to make any change in life, you actually got to take action and make a change and do it. And by
mm.
doing it, it's actually going to then come forward and, you know, you're actually going to achieve the things that you want to achieve in your life.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, doesn't it? You do get a lot of, you know, you do read a lot of visualizations and manifestation, but like you say, and you can't just sit on your sofa and it's going to come to you.
No,
You
and
know,
I
it's
think,
you
you
got
know,
to take action.
sometimes, absolutely, I think sometimes it's quite misleading. I think people think that they can read the books, and because they've read the books, that's now going to happen.
Mm.
But we all know you have to work, you know,
Yeah,
you got to work and create it.
like your car example, you can manifest in seeing it, but
Yes.
if you're at home and you're not working, you're not going to create wealth or money to buy it.
No,
So,
no, no, exactly. You know,
yeah,
I think it's the same with social media, isn't it? You can, you know, you can with a business, you can put it all out there, but if you're actually not doing anything, it's not actually going to get you anywhere. You can put lots of lovely pictures on there and,
mm,
you know, think that all that's going to help, but you also have to do other things as well. And it's like, I think it's like everything in life. You do have to have a plan. You've got to work towards it.
yeah,
People
absolutely.
work harder and some people don't. It's
Yeah,
up to you, isn't it? Up to you as a person, really.
yeah. So what you've just shown us, is it available online?
It is, yeah. You can go on to my, I can give you the details actually. You can go onto my online link and
Yeah,
create your own goal map, or you
yeah,
can get in contact with me and we can work together and create a goal map. Or yeah, I can send a template to you and then
yeah,
they can actually create a goal map using those as well. So that
yeah.
you can hand draw it or you can stick pictures.
Yeah, and for those people with kids or nephews or nieces, you know, it could be something fun to do together as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's great for children because children, I did a goal mapping for children session
Mm,
before lockdown, and we had about 100 children. They all really sort of got into it because they're so much more open, aren't they? I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that's the thing. They would just join in, and you know, when we got them to stand up and sort of show everyone, or show all their mums and dads their goal maps, it's just amazing. Whereas if we'd have got adults to stand up there, they may not have wanted to do that.
no.
Whereas
Isn't it?
children just go forward, don't they, and just do
Isn't
it.
it a shame how we get conditioned and, you know, how we're not childlike as
Exactly,
adults.
yes.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
we stifle our dreams, don't we? Whereas children, they want to be an astronaut or footballer or whatever it may be, and they probably could be,
yeah.
but you know, you get conditioned, don't you? Um, it's such a shame.
Yeah, and like we said right back at the beginning, it's all about words, isn't it? Someone could just say to you, "Oh, you're not very good at that." It could be a teacher. You know, you
Mm,
still hear, unfortunately, negative words coming from teachers' mouths to children,
yeah,
and that can really stop them in their tracks for the rest of their lives.
yeah. Because again, it's the brain development, isn't it? So when you're young, you look at stuff in nominal terms. So you know, if you're told you're stupid, you can literally take it on. But it
Yeah,
might be you've been stupid in that particular moment, or you know, naughty in a particular moment.
yeah,
But you can take it on literally. So yeah, sad. I mean, when I done my training, I look back at my children, and you know, I'm a pretty good dad, but I certainly would have changed a lot of my words in the moment. You know, um, when you're having an argument or whatever. But you're not taught this kind of stuff, are you?
no,
Nobody's
not
aware of
at
it.
all. No. No,
Mm,
I think
needs to
as a
change.
parent, it's really hard, isn't it? Because
Mm,
especially if you've done this sort of training as well, is you think, oh gosh, you know, maybe I shouldn't have done it like that. But you know, the end of the day is that we're all learning, we're all
yeah,
growing,
yeah,
and you know, it doesn't mean that you can keep learning forever, can't you? And think,
yeah,
oh, we should have said this, we should, you know. But children will learn things along the way, and
yeah,
I think as long as you say the right things and you know, you're giving them the right ideas to move forward with their life and giving them lots of praise and yeah,
yeah,
you know, that type of thing. That's the thing that's going to help them, isn't it?
absolutely,
With
yeah.
their lives, really.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to press stop in a minute, but I'll chat to you after, and we'll just confirm details and how people can connect with you and stuff. But yeah, I really appreciate your time. It's been very, very interesting,
Lovely.
and
Thank you very much for having me on.
I'm definitely going to get some goal mapping out. All right,
Lovely. Thanks ever so much, Gary.
you're welcome. You take care.